So this recording you are going to add on
Yes,
the
I'm going
memo.
to, yes. I can also share it off Melimo. Those who miss it. All right. So this is topic 3, access control. This access control is part of certified information system security. If you're going to take that certification, you'll find this topic there. It is also in cyber security. So they share this particular topic, both courses. Okay. So access control is a collection of mechanisms that permits any manager to exercise control over the system. So if you're a manager, you're the IT manager, you're the systems administrator, you're going to use access control to manage your users, how they access your system. The techniques that you're going to use to control users are covered in this particular topic. So we are going to discuss them throughout. This access control helps you also to detect any illegal activities on your system, any vulnerabilities, and anywhere where your system is exposed. I hope you can see my screen well. I hope it's not too small. Can you see the screen well?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's fine.
All right. Let me just
Yes.
make it full screen. So these are some of the access controls, some of the access control terms that we have. Access control is a security feature which helps the user to be able to interact with the system and also with one another. And then we have another term that is access. It involves the flow of information between the subject and the object. The subject is the user, and then the object is the system. Then we have 3 main security principles when you're looking at access control. We did this in cybersecurity. We have availability, integrity, and confidentiality. These are the 3 main security principles that we have. In short, you can even call them CIA, that detective firm in America. The CIA, it is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Identification enables you to be able to detect each user that is getting onto the system, and it enables you to authenticate the user by them inputting a password, and also it involves authorization. That means that even if you have a password, are you allowed to access a certain file? That's authorization means, are you allowed to access a specific file? Okay. And then these are some of the methods that you're going to use in identification. You can use a user's ID, a passport, biometrics like fingerprints and eye prints and eye scans. In authentication, you prove that that person is who they say they are. Okay, like your ID proves that it's truly you. Your fingerprint proves that it is truly you. It can even be voice recognition. It also proves that it is you. So those are some of the methods that you use when you're authenticating. And a strong authentication is very important. Don't give an obvious authentication. Like, for example, passwords. Don't allow people to just put their name as a password. Like, I cannot have my password as Esther. Okay. Like normal cases, like lowercase, just Esther. It can be, don't allow the users to put such simple passwords. So make sure they put strong passwords, like they should start a password with a capital letter. There should be some mixture of small letters, numbers, special characters, and also make sure the password is like 8 characters long. We did this one in cybersecurity, if you remember very well. It's like revision. Those who wanted to revise, you're now revising. Also biometrics like eye scan, fingerprints, body hits are also key when you're looking at biometrics. So you can use, those are also strong authentication methods that you can use. So they are here, biometrics. We have fingerprints, palm scan, hand geometry, iris scan, signatures, keyboard dynamics, like the way someone operates on a keyboard. It can also help you to authenticate. Yes, please.
Iris scan, what is it?
Iris scan, it's your eye scan, the eye. When you're scanning the eye, it scans the iris. Everyone has a unique, if you remember your biology, that inner part of the black parts of your eye, that's the iris. You've got it, eh? Have you understood that?
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Yes, yeah. And then like the ones we have, the ones we have at campus where the lecturers clock in, we have a facial scan where the lecturers clock in. So it scans your face, and then, but some people usually abuse that and put pictures. So make sure the users are not going to put in people's pictures when they come to scan. Make sure your facial scan has integrity, like it can do what it says it can do. And then the hand topography, the shape of your hand also can be a good biometric system. So the pictures are there for the systems. Please feel free, it's a discussion class, so feel free to interject where you don't understand. In case I'm moving too fast, also you let me know. Then we have, I beg your pardon?
Palm scan.
Which one?
Palm.
The palm scan. The palm, everyone has a unique palm. If you look at your palm, it is unique for everyone. So you can design a system whereby the user will come and place their palm on that system. Like in this example, you can see there. I think this could be a clock in. So this person just comes and puts their hand there. Yeah. You can see that, eh? Yeah, is that okay? Okay. Now, sometimes it can be a little bit hard to compare.
Madam, go back. The other one.
Which one?
I think the voice print.
The voice print, this one. The voice print is you record the user's voices. So whenever they come, they will speak a word and then the system will allow them. So what the system does, it does a voice recognition. So this voice print is also a voice recognition.
So this voice print may be a problem because sometimes.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah, I think this may be a problem for voice print. So sometimes the man may be.
You may be sick.
Or
yes.
something. Yeah, he may be.
Yeah,
sick
you have to give like an error. You have to give like an error. There's an error margin. Okay. There's an error margin. Whenever you're making the program, give an option of an error, minus plus. Okay, because sometimes you can be sick. Maybe you have a cold, and the system has an issue. Okay. Let me just tell these guys to mute.
That's the devil.
Okay. Any other question? Kindly guys, please mute. If you're not asking any question, just mute your mic because interfering with the class. Just mute if you don't have something to say. If you have something to say, you can unmute. Guys, please check your mics. Check your mics.
But I wanted to ask pink shares, artwork, pink shares.
Please mute, please mute. Let me see who is talking.
Hello. Hello?
Yes, hello, we can hear you, but please mute.
Hello,
Yes, please.
madam.
Hello. Okay, I think. Okay, please kindly mute your mics unless you
Madam,
have
where are
something
you?
to say. I'm here, but I was telling people to mute in case they are
Madam.
not. They can only unmute when they are going to talk. Thank you so much. Yes, someone was asking a question. Hello.
Yes, madam. The hand topography.
The hand topography. Everyone has a different shape of their hand. So you can design a system that is going to do a hand print.
Madam.
So when you come, you put your hand on the machine, and then it does your hand. It scans your hand and then allows you into the system. It is the same thing as the hand. If you look at my screen there,
okay.
The same thing as the hand geometry. Sorry, the hand
I would
geometry.
like to know about yes.
Which one?
Yes.
You're breaking. You're saying that. Have you understood that?
Yes, hand geometry.
Yes, it's the same thing as hand geometry. Yes,
yeah.
Hand topography is the same thing as the hand geometry.
Okay.
Then you also have the palm. The palm scans only the palm, not the whole hand, like this one here at the bottom.
Yes, madam. I have understood.
Okay, please.
Yes, I've seen.
Okay. Sorry, my
okay. Thank you.
System had hung a bit there. So you have there is usually an error, so you have to give an error margin.
Yes.
Yeah. So sometimes the user can go on the machine, try to clock in, and then it refuses like that. So try to give some space for error.
Yes,
yeah, give some space for error. Yeah. Otherwise, you have the type 1 error, type 2 error, okay, that may come on the screen. So these are the passwords. The username and password are the most commonly used, but it's not very good security, as you can see there, because I can share my password with someone else. So it's not a very good security mechanism. So you try to avoid passwords, only use passwords if you must. They are weak security. And if you must use a password, make sure it has 8 or more characters, a mixture of numbers, letters, capital letters and small letters, and special characters. Okay. Then you also have authentication. Some authentication techniques that you are going to use, like electronic monitoring. You can keep monitoring the user as they keep logging into the system. You have to keep monitoring who's logging in at any one time. Also, check who is accessing every file at each time. Allow the user to access the system, but also monitor which files they are going to read. In case anything happens, you have someone to follow up. There are some brute force attacks that can be done on a password. That's why we said passwords are weak, because they can be attacked. A brute force attack is where a hacker guesses the passwords, guesses someone's password until they recover it. So that's called a brute force attack. So they keep guessing the password until they get it. So be aware or brute force attacks. There are even some tools that help the hacker to hack those passwords. We also have dictionary attacks, where the hacker also compares the user and the password. For example, if you're trying to hack my system, you start with my name. You can start with my birthday, my children's names. So those are the dictionary attacks. So you look at the user and then you think, what password can they be able to use? And then you use that. So that's a dictionary attack. So you find various words that can compare with the user until you find a match. Then social engineering is used a lot because a user is the weakest link on a network. If I'm the systems admin of the network, a hacker can approach me using all kinds of ways, fish information from me until they're able to access the network. Okay, so beware, the human beings, the users, are always the weakest links on the network because we can easily be manipulated. I could share my password with my husband. I could share my password with my sister, my brother, all that, and those are all weak links. Okay, so try to make sure you educate the user on social engineering such that they are not hacked. Another way of the hacker using social engineering is through social media. For example, I can go to your Facebook account or your LinkedIn. LinkedIn is where people usually put posts, professional details. So you find in my LinkedIn account, I've done Cisco, I've done Microsoft certified system engineer. So someone will know that at my office, I'm probably using a Windows server and I'm probably using a Cisco firewall for security. So they will know how to easily hack the system. So try to avoid posting so much information about yourself on social media. Try to limit. Don't trust everybody as well. You don't have to trust your whole family all the time because you don't know who that family member is. The family member can be trustworthy. Your brother can be trustworthy, but you don't know he may be sharing with his girlfriend, and that can create the weak link. So try not to share too much information about the company on social media or with people around you. And then know the difference between a password checker and a password cracker. I hope everybody knows the difference between that. A checker just checks for a password. A cracker will just crack your password. Okay. You will use a software to crack your password. Okay. Then we also have a passphrase. A passphrase is different from a password because it is longer than a password. Okay. So sometimes it's good to use a passphrase. Okay. It can be more secure than a password. A password can be something like if I capitalize password and then I put A, then I put like 55, then word. Okay. Now a passphrase can be something like I'm going home to have lunch. Okay. And in between there, I can put spaces. So I say I'm space going home to have lunch. Okay. So it will be very hard for the hacker to crack that passphrase because it has more characters than my password. My password will be short with only 9 characters. So it is harder for someone to crack a password than a passphrase. So you can opt to use a passphrase for some of your authentication. We also have the one-time passwords or dynamic passwords. These ones are generated by the system. Whenever a user comes to log into the system, it always gives them a different password. Like what we've just done here with Zoom. The password we used in the first instance is not the same one that we have used just now for the second session. So a one-time password, also known as a dynamic password, it changes, it is generated every time you create a login for the user. Every time the user comes to log in, they will have different passwords. So that one is called a one-time password. It's also stronger than an everyday password. That one the hacker has to keep guessing every day. We also have smart cards and memory cards. These are also good. However, they are not so secure because I could give my smart card to a friend and they come and log in. So you have to combine a smart card with maybe facial recognition or fingerprint. Okay. And also hashing and encryption, also very strong authentication methods there. You can use those to increase the authentication, the security of your system as well. Okay. Hashing means that as the password is shared between your laptop and the server, it is encrypted in between there such that if a hacker steals that information as it is moving, they will not understand it. If you look in the picture here, we have hello there as the password, but you can see when it's encrypted, it's a different character. When it gets to the other machine where it is going, it will get back to the normal text. So this is what we call hashing and encryption. So I'm going to cover this more next week. I'm going to look at encryption and cryptography next week. So make sure you don't miss next week's class. Okay. So salts enable us to encrypt, add complexity to our passwords by giving random values to the password whenever it's created. Then you have cryptographic keys. These are usually digital keys that we use when you are, like, for instance, purchasing something online. Maybe you're doing e-commerce. We have what we call a private key and a digital signature. A private key is usually secret and possession of only one person. And then you have the public key, which moves between the buyer and the seller. But on my side, I'll have a private key, which I'll input, which only mean I know. Like, for example, when you're buying stuff from eBay or Amazon, you enter, they will tell you to enter your Visa card, your Visa card number. And then there's that secret code that you put, which only you know. So the only information shared between you and the buyer is the card number, but your code is not shared. It's your private key. And please kindly don't share it. Okay. So that we also have a digital signature, which uses a private key and a hashing value to share information between you and the buyer. The digital signature confirms that it is you who is communicating, not someone else. Authorization allows only specific people to access certain resources. You can have a password to the system, but you don't have authority to access certain files. So you're given levels of access in the system. So you only access the system up to a certain level. You don't access everything. So make sure your system can do that when you're designing your security system. We also have another concept in access control, that is authorization. Authorization roles, like what is the right of the user? What is your role? Maybe you're the administrator, you're the user, you're a guest. Okay, usually we have those whenever we are logging in. You can log in as a guest, you have limited resources. You can log in as a user, you have most of the resources. And then you can log in as admin. For admin, you have access to the whole system. Okay, you can also give group rights. Okay, so you can authorize a certain group to access a certain set of files. Like your group is information in this mailing, your group is information system security class. Now someone who's doing software security will not be able to access this class. It's only you. So your group is the only one that has been given authorization to access. So that's what we call a group right. And then location. Where is this resource located? Where is this file located? That's what location is all about. So restricts also according to the location of the files. So you can do that through the network. Whenever you're not in front of a resource, maybe it's on the internet, we call it a remote location, whenever it's on the internet. If you can access physically, like you can go to the server room, or you can go to your laptop to access a file, that is physical access. If it's online or on the cloud, that is remote access. So where is the file located? That's what location is all about. And then time restricts certain certain files to be restricted only at certain times. Like for example, you can say this file will only be accessed between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Okay, only. So that one helps you to avoid it helps you to avoid hackers, the people who come at night and try to steal stuff from your system. So, but if you say it cannot be accessed between 9 and 5, it means that you're working, you're all there working, and you can monitor that file. So that is what time is all about. Restrict access to files at certain times. And then a good example of this one can be if I put up an exam on Melimo here. I can say you can only access this exam between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Only 2 hours. That one helps me in that you will not go and copy and move with the file, share with your friends. You will have very limited time to do this exam. Okay, so it restricts any dubious activity. That's what restricting time restriction means here when you're dealing with security. And then the transaction types also restrict the kind of transactions. What is this person going to do on the file? Okay, if they're just regular things, maybe the students just coming to read, allow them to access the system anytime. Like the system is available 24/7. Anytime, even if you come 2 a.m., you're able to access because you're just reading. But then I restrict the exam because that one has to have more security. If it's an ATM, restrict the time and say this ATM will only be available from 9 to 5. Okay, so that you can monitor it. So that is what time and transaction types are all about. So then there is authorization creep. Okay, authorization creep means that this user, like for example, if I look at a school system, the user stopped, like maybe you finished the course this year, then next year you're still accessing this particular class. Okay, that means that your permission should have expired for this class, but you're continuing to access. That means that you can be a security risk to this system. Okay, like for example, if a worker left the bank and then you didn't remove them from the system, they can continue to access the files at the bank. Then they're a security risk because you cannot monitor them from wherever they have gone. So this kind of error is called the authorization creep. So as a systems admin, try to make sure you always check for such things. Ensure that if a worker has left the company or a student has left the school, make sure you remove them. Like the student, put them in the alumni. The worker, please remove them because you cannot monitor them wherever they are. Okay, like there's a school where I was working and then I left, I retired there and moved on, but they still let me in their system so I could still read their messages, everything coming in. So that is a very bad system. So try to make sure you watch out for such. And then default to 0 is another concept. In that, try to make sure that all your access controls always start at 0 and then move upwards. Like whenever a user logs in, they first log in from level 1, like from user level. Then you can move them up to admin, okay, if they're administrator. So don't allow a system to start directly from admin. Like when you're logging into your system, don't allow it to just start from admin directly. Start from user. Okay, that's what default to 0 means. Then you can move your rights upwards. Okay. Need to know principle. The user should only read files that they have to read. Don't give them access to everything. Like this Melimo system would give you access to all the courses at IUEA, which is not really necessary. So give users only what they need to see. Okay. And then also have access control lists that allow users to read, write, or execute. Okay, like what Linux does. Which rights does this user have? He has read rights. He can only read. Write means that he can also change something. He can edit. Execute means that he can program. He can something to this particular document. Okay. Append means that he can add on. Modify means that he can change what the details of the file. Delete means he can delete that file. Create means that he can also create a new file. Okay, so those are the access control lists that you look at. Okay. Then the models are here: discretionary models, mandatory, and non-discretionary models. So I'm going to look at them in this next slide. Discretionary access means that it allows the user to access a specific file, a specific resource. The system allows the user to access only a specific resource. Okay, not everything. The owner is the one that allows you to access a specific resource. Okay. Mandatory means all the resources here are controlled. Okay, like in military or government, there is hierarchy. Like even in the university, you don't just walk into the VC's office. You have first go to the secretary, ask for an appointment before they let you in. So mandatory access means that you control all the resources and you need permission to access any resource. Discretionary means that the owner has control. He can allow you to access or not allow you to access. Non-discretionary means that the user is only given what they need to do. Like for example, an accountant is only given the accounting page. If I'm a lecturer, I'm only given the lecturing page, okay? The page for lecturers. If I'm the dean, I'm only given the administrator page, okay? If I'm the developer, I only have the developer role. So most of the systems that we have are non-discretionary or role-based systems like this one here. Okay, so these are some other terms like preventive administrative controls. These ones allow you to control the system such that you don't have a disaster. Okay, make sure you do prevent. Don't wait for a hacker to hack you. Okay, do preventive administrative controls. Put passwords, put biometrics. Okay, don't wait for a hack. Okay, preventive physical controls. Make sure you put security guards, fences. Okay, preventive technical controls are not so far from administrative controls. Okay, administrative refers to the policies that you make at higher level, that every user must have a password. Okay, and then the technical controls are the ones you do down here, like putting an antivirus, encryption, and all that. But all this should have come from the administrative preventive controls that you have put in place from the very first time. Okay, so these are the make sure you do preventive control. Don't wait for your system to be hacked, then you'll wake up. Okay, accountability means track every user, record every user. Like I'm recording myself now so that I can track my classes. I'll even share with you so you can track everything we discussed. So make sure you have accountability, record whatever actions. If I've come to open a certain file, when auditing time comes, by the way, you always have an audit. Okay, audit your systems. Okay, like every end of the week or every end of the month, such that in case you missed any login which was suspicious, you can always see it and say, this person logged in, I don't know them. Okay, so accountability tracks whatever the user does on the system. And then auditing information means you come and look at the audit files, look at the the logs, the logins. What did Esther do on the system? Okay, what did Mohammed do on the system? Okay, what did Gatera do on the system? So that is what auditing is at the end of every week. Okay, then we have the real-time near review, always review through. This is also auditing. Okay, you keep checking every time. Real time means whenever someone logs in, you check what are they doing. Okay, that's real time. And then audit reduction tools, you look at the performance of the system. Variance detection tools, you keep monitoring the usage and detecting anything that is not straight, anything suspicious, you detect it there. And then attack signature tools, you look at whoever has logged in. Are they who they say they are? If Esther says she has logged in, are you sure that it is Esther who logged in? That's what signature tools look like, to avoid any attack through that. Then we are going to look at intrusion detection. I don't know that we shall have time, but I'll leave for you the notes so you can read through them in case we don't cover it. But intrusion detection basically senses in case someone tries to illegally access your system. Okay, we have sensors, we have analyzers, we have intrusion prevention systems, like every antivirus has that. Like Kaspersky has it. If we try to access a specific file, it will warn you. Even Windows has it. Are you sure you want to install that? Okay. So intrusion detection and prevention systems can help you with that. Honeypots and network sniffers, those are softwares that can also help you to monitor your system. Okay. So we shall look at some of those if we have time. Then you have the brute force attacks, which I mentioned. Those ones, they try to guess your password. Then spoofing at login. This one looks at security awareness of the users. Okay. Make sure your system, you alert all the time. We have insiders. Okay. The people who will hack you the most are people who are inside your network. So make sure you have good policies in place that can prevent that. Make sure that you're educating the users. You're telling them to change their passwords all the time. Setting good passwords, making sure everyone has a login. Okay, that's what you look at at the insiders. So I think that is our last slide. I don't know if you have any question. Can let me know before we close off.
Okay, thank you, madam.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I need you to go back one time first.
They may just stop the recording so that I can
When you
share it.
said-
I beg your pardon?